The travel industry has been among those sectors seeing a rebound as investors are preparing for a post-pandemic world. Let's bring in former Shell Oil President John Hofmeister. And John, I guess it wasn't a big surprise to see a lot of the travel stocks, cruise industry stocks start to jump when the vaccine news crossed. But how much do you think that the travel industry comes back, and do you think that that helps the oil market?
Well, indeed, I do think travel will come back. People have a pent-up desire for mobility, Cheryl. And I think when that mobility starts to return, whether it's commuting to the office or whether it's traveling for business or traveling for pleasure, I think everybody's going to feel better and do better. And I think that will take the demand of oil actually back to the pre-COVID levels. The reason we've seen the crash in the oil price has been the crash in transport. The mobility around the world has been dramatically decreased, and that's taken about 10% of demand away from the oil industry. So as that comes back, we'll see a strengthening of the oil price.
Yeah, no, I know that the transports, for the year, I was actually looking at the Dow Jones transports up about 14%. But that's that last, moment surge that we got with the vaccines. But at the same time, when do you think that happens? I mean, the vaccine still has to roll out, and the people need to be comfortable, for demand to go up.
I think it's going to be more of a trickle up. I don't think it's going to be a sudden demand increase. But keep in mind, one of the realities of the oil market is that the major investing companies, the producers, they've cut way back on capital spending. So as the demand increases, the capital spending to increase production is basically not there. That's going to put pressure on the existing supply chain. And so I think we will see maybe later this year, probably in 2022, probably some pretty healthy price increase.
So if you're an investor, get into that now. I want to ask you about the industry in general, the U.S.-based energy industry. Really interesting piece in the Journal about the fact that 2020 was one of the worst ever years for write-downs for energy companies. $145 billion in assets in 2020 have been written down by these major companies. Is this, do you think, going to be a good thing for investors in these companies that have not been happy with how energy stocks have performed in 2020?
Yes, I think it will be. The write-downs are a short-term problem, but over the longer term, as the oil price increases, you'll see appreciation grow, and that appreciation will be good for investors. So I'm frankly, this is a robust industry, has been. We've seen down cycles before. The industry knows how to respond to those down cycles. Write-downs are a common thing to occur when an oil price drops for a sustained period of time, and you have to rewrite your asset base. So I just think this is part of normal cycles that the industry has seen in the past.
How nervous do you think oil CEOs are about the incoming administration and all this talk about fracking? I mean, President-elect Biden had said during the debates that he was not going to ban fracking, but there's a lot of, let's say, well, the Squad, for instance, but a lot of support in the Democratic side to ban fracking. How nervous are those CEOs right now?
I think the CEOs, and I was in their chair previously, as you know, and I was there when Obama, took over. And so I think that they have a more faith in the American consumer and the American voter. And if politicians do things that harm the American consumer because they cut back availability of oil for whatever their political purpose is, and the price goes up, those politicians tend to go away because they don't get reelected.
Interesting.
That's what happened in 2010. The same thing could happen in 2022. If Biden takes an axe to the industry, the Democrats will pay the price for that because the American consumer is the American voter, and we still control our destiny.
It's a great point. John Hofmeister, it's great to see you. Thank you for being here, John.
Thank you.